I'm Lenora, your host for 3 Peas in a Pod. Before I dive into this episode, I just wanted to say I'm sharing a few ideas about encouraging yourself. I'm not a psychologist. This is not a thorough explanation of the topic, but some ideas. So, I hope you enjoy. Please subscribe when you're done. This is sponsored by LenoraDiane.com. This episode is about encouraging yourself. I think we all need it. Are you a runner? I really am not a runner, and yet I feel like my life was thrown into a marathon. We have a lot of things that are not going to be easy to change and fix in our world right now, and so I thought we'd take a couple minutes to focus on strengthening ourselves. How do you strengthen you? So a couple thoughts on that. Again, when you have a crisis going on or multiple challenges and changes can be exhausting just because your normal pattern of life has been forced into change. So whether or not we want something new, when we all of a sudden have to have something new, it accidentally breaks a lot of our patterns that we've taken for granted, didn't have to think about. We got up in the morning, we got ready to work, you didn't even hardly think about it, you were in your pattern. So even when those types of schedules change, it brings extra exhaustion potentially, because not only are you doing something new, but the old stuff that you took for granted, you can no longer take for granted because all that's new too. So again, it can be very tiring. You can find your own mind wanting to check out when you're dealing with stress or conflict or change, because your brain wants to go, okay, you're making me process overtime. I need to kind of like shut down and reboot. It's a lot like a computer. So if you find yourself checking out, whether it's I got to go be by myself a little bit more, of course, introverts and extroverts deal with it differently as well. But that time where your mind is maybe not even remembering things as well, that's actually normal when you go through a lot of change, a lot of stress. Some years back, I went through some really hard family illnesses. Oh my gosh, it was such a difficult year and a half. And I felt like I couldn't remember so much. I would forget things right away. And it was like, wait, what's going on with me besides these challenges? And I realized it was simply the stress. I thought, Lenora, your brain will get better again when this season is past. And thank God it did. It took a while to recover. But when you're dealing with a lot, it's very important that we also just take care of ourselves. So I just want to, again, touch on a couple thoughts to do that. Because you got to recognize when you're in a marathon, not that I've run one, but the concept of life, you have to pace yourself. I've at least watched runners. Years and years ago, I did run track, way, way back. But I ran, like a 440 relay race and sprints and things like that. But I do know, based on the distance you're running, you better pace yourself. Because you can't run a marathon like you can run a 100-yard dash. And sometimes we expect ourselves to keep running at a pace that is high octane. I mean, it is high paced, quick decisions. We're used to getting stuff done. And again, certain personalities are very driven and everything is get it done now. But if you're in a marathon, you have to take breaks. You have to pace yourself. So that may mean, do I stop my at-home work on a schedule? Now, you can't always do that, but do you make breaks? Do you make yourself take lunch? Do you watch stand-up comedy just because you want to find a reason to laugh? Do you find new comedians? Find a good movie, something to just check out on purpose, laugh, things like that. So again, scheduling yourself for breaks, doing something on purpose that's funny. Even if you think the world's not funny right now, you probably need to go somewhere and find a reason to laugh. Check out, find a reason to laugh. It's healthy. It's good for your brain, good for your heart, good for your whole self. Put a really nice view in front of you. What are you looking at? Can you put one, at least a nice picture on your phone? What's helpful to you visually? So again, some of those simple things, but realize when there's change going on, sometimes what can help you is to realize what's not changing, because not everything is changing. Again, when I went through some trauma in my family life and I watched my kids face some trauma, one thing that I had a sense about all the change that was going on was that I had to help my at the time they were teenagers, helped my teens realize not everything was changing. And we helped them see faces that weren't changing, family members that were still there. Even if you're focused on the sun still rises, the sun still sets, look at it. See some things that help you bring a sense of normal, a sense of stability, because it's kind of important to also recognize what is not changing. So I cannot feel like my entire life has been uprooted and everything's different, because that's a whole lot of stress. So again, taking care of you. Are you pacing yourself? What is changing? Maybe write it down so it's not just floating around in your head and it's overwhelming. But what is not changing? And on purpose, focus on those things. Take time to breathe. Recognize the season change. Recognize things that are the same, even if it's the birds out in some trees. Seriously, things that just help you go, oh yeah, I remember what that feels like. It feels normal. That helps. Again, you're going to need more downtime. You may feel like I'm sleeping more, or you're just a little stressed, depending on how much change is going on. A lot of people have made adjustments, but we keep living on question marks in this season. And there are sometimes just seasons of life where that happens. There are losses with change, but there's also new opportunities. And so it's a time we can even be creative. We have imaginations. It's a powerful human gift to have a great imagination. It's an amazing gift. But you got to use your imagination for you, and don't let it be used against you. So what are you on purpose putting in front of your eyes, into your ears, so that you can help get information you need, but also help yourself with your imagination? If you're only saying things that are the challenges, again, it can just feel so overwhelming. So what can you on purpose put in front of your eyes, into your ears, that help you have hope, help you have strength, help you have a good imagination? Because again, imagination is incredibly powerful. It's how we're creative. We can be incredibly creative as human beings. But if our imagination is used against us by only focusing on everything that could go wrong or is going wrong, it can become just a very, very heavy load. And that in itself is tough on an immune system. So there are things that we can't control in life, but there are things we can control. So I know I've had to let go of a tight grip on things I cannot control, and very much on purpose focus on what I can control. So on purpose, what am I putting in front of my eyes? What am I putting in my ears? I on purpose will listen to people that are motivational speakers. I used to want to be a motivational speaker, but I couldn't get myself to do it. I always think that's so funny. Anyway, you want to find out who's a motivational speaker, a podcast, a YouTube, I don't care where you find them, someone that encourages you. And if you don't know somebody, find them. Listen to Les Brown. Listen to a Joel Osteen. Listen to somebody that's going to encourage you, and listen to them every day on purpose. Because again, you matter. And you've got to focus on some things that will strengthen you when we're facing more challenge, especially than ever. It's always a good thing to do. But I also want to ask you about this. How is your own self-talk? How do you treat yourself? Are you patient with yourself? Some of you are great at that. Others of you, not so much. So how are you treating yourself with all this change? How do you talk to yourself? Are you hyper self-critical? I used to be. Gosh, it was like, get out of my head, but it was me. You can get into bad habits of how you think. And are you really critical with your thoughts? If you were around a lot of criticism, you've probably been trained pretty well. Now they can go away and you're on a pattern, man, and you know how to criticize yourself. You can find everything you've done wrong. So you have to get better at being your own best encourager. So I would like you to think about, what is your self-talk? Years ago, I found myself in an interesting spot. It was quite a long time ago. And I almost got this like a spot image, a little picture of how I was treating myself. And it was like this. I was fairly driven, like getting things done. And if I want it, I just go after it. And I may be impatient or very critical about every step. If I don't do it exactly fast enough, or how I think I should do it, I can be very self-critical. Didn't even realize how much so until I got kind of this picture of myself in a room thinking about the next project I was going to do. And there was my also self sitting at a table with her arms crossed, her heels dug in, looking at me, saying, I will not help you. She did not care. She, meaning me, talking to myself. I did not care if Lenora succeeded. And it was like Lenora went, wait, what? It was interesting. It was like this brokenness inside where my own self was so tired of being criticized and pushed and badgered and whatever, pushed into doing something, that she said, I don't care if you succeed. In fact, I will sabotage you, which blew me away. I didn't know you could do that to yourself, but you can. You can sabotage yourself. So I was thinking, uh-oh, this is a problem, because if I don't cooperate with myself, I will not go anywhere good. So what I had to do with that was realize I better start treating myself better. I almost had to relearn how to make friends with myself. So if you were to think of yourself right now sitting next to you sitting next to you on a chair or a couch or wherever, if you look at yourself, would that person want to be your friend? Would he want to be your friend? Would she want to be your friend? Or the way that you talk to yourself would make them go, we're kind of done. I'm going to quit hanging out with her. And that's what I was doing to myself. I was like, I didn't want to hang out with me. You know what? I'll go make a new friend. Except that's a problem because I was me. So that's a big one I want you to think about. Would yourself want to be your own friend? If not, or maybe sometimes, you need to start working on that. And like today. So there's a lot of ways you can do that. Stop the criticism. It's going to take you a while because you're really used to it. I remember somehow I got the idea to look in the mirror and say nice things to myself. That felt ridiculous. I thought, this is so stupid. And I had a hard time doing it, which is a bummer. But you have to get to where you actually can laugh about it and have fun and really look at yourself and go, I like you. I like that I'm you. I like being with you. When you can get to the point, and eventually I reconciled and I started treating myself better and I was more patient and I learned how to not be critical. It doesn't mean I didn't fix things or be disappointed if I made mistakes sometimes, but I was treated myself so much more kindly. And over time, I remember doing some acting thing. It was very simple. And trust me, it was not an impressive thing. But I remember having fun that day, and I literally thought, I'm enjoying myself. I'm enjoying myself. But it was actually, I'm enjoying myself. And I look, oh my goodness, we're friends again. That may sound a little crazy, and maybe it was. But how are you treating yourself? Because, again, truth be known, if you aren't a really good friend to yourself, you won't be successful in the things you want to do. Eventually, it'll be sabotaged. And I'm not talking about being consumed with yourself, and so that all we ever do is only ever think of ourselves. But are you kind? All those types of things. What do you say over yourself? I, on purpose, speak things over myself because I guess I would say I don't, in all reality, trust anyone's voice better than my own. And same with you. Science has figured this out, that your own cells respond to your voice. Your own immune system, your own brain, your own subconscious will respond to your own words. So you should be speaking life over yourself. Speaking life over yourself regularly. And you'll find how helpful it is to how you feel about yourself, how you feel about the future. So you should be a great encourager of yourself. And again, who do you listen to? If you aren't very good at it, then listen to people like Les Brown. Listen to people like Jim Rohn. Listen, he's gone on to heaven, but he's still got great stuff out there on YouTube or wherever you want to listen. Get encouragement for yourself. If you're not kind to you, it's really hard to be kind to others. So if you find that you're not very patient with people, part of it is a bit of a personality thing. There's some people are more wired tightly than others, and they're very driven, and they're a little bit less naturally patient. But if you're not kind to you, you're not going to be able to be kind to others. If there's nothing in your tank, like think of a fuel tank, if you've always criticized so much, there's no positive things in your own tank, how on earth are you going to feed that out to others? So you have to help fill your own tank for good thoughts, good words, good imagination, okay? But just it takes a habit. And if you're in a bad habit of not doing that, it's going to take you a while to turn it around. You got to keep sticking with it and forgive yourself when you screw up, okay? But also, who else can you reach out to? Besides, what do you put in your eyes? What do you put in your ears? Who are you listening to encourage yourself? How do you speak about yourself? Who do you reach out to? Who can you call to say, hey, can you encourage me? I've done that with my kids. They're young adults now, and they've gotten a call, not terribly often, where I've said, would you just tell me why you like me? I need to hear some good words. It's been a rough day. So who can you talk to and be honest with? I don't care if it's a counseling line. You should have people that you can be a bit vulnerable to. And again, some personalities, it's a little easier for them to do that than others. But be patient with yourself. Love is a verb. We think love often is a feeling. But the truth is, if you behave in loving ways, you tend to have, over time, some very loving feelings. So treat yourself in a loving way, and you'll find that your self-love will grow. But you got to love yourself right now wherever you're at. Doesn't matter what your weight is, doesn't matter what your IQ is or what you think it is, or what you've accomplished. You need to love, accept, honor, and respect yourself right now. And that is a massive, very specific choice. I guess maybe it's not massive. It's a very important choice. So do you love, accept, honor, and respect yourself? Because if you will honestly do that, you'll find the ability to do it for others. And however you want to get help or can get help to do that, do it. You're worth the investment. The people around you are worth the benefit of you also liking who you are. So again, we've been going through a lot of change, a lot of stresses. A lot of people have been tired and just a bit weary. So you definitely have to be helping encourage yourself. And then reach out, do simple things to encourage others. Again, decide to love yourself today. Look in the mirror and say, I'm really glad I'm you. And laugh about it if you have to. Do that until it feels normal. Until you can really enjoy yourself. This is Lenora with 3 P's in a Pod. Thank you for listening. Remember to click subscribe. I want to have a time with you every week, and the podcast should come out every Tuesday. So please click subscribe. You can go to lenoradiane.com and learn more. So again, have a great day, and thanks for listening.